Hello there, and welcome to the Serene Scroll. I am so glad you have found your way here. Perhaps it has been a long day, filled with the noise and rush of the world. Perhaps your mind is still turning, still processing. That is perfectly all right. Here, there is nothing for you to do, nowhere for you to be, but present in this quiet space. Settle in, allow your body to grow heavy and soft, and let the gentle weight of relaxation rest upon you. We are about to begin a journey together, a quiet exploration of our living world. And just before we begin, if these quiet explorations help you unwind, if they offer you a peaceful way to end your day, consider gently tapping the like button and subscribing to the channel. It allows our small community of quiet travelers to grow. Now take a slow, easy breath in and let it go. Our story begins. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable and imagine yourself standing in a place of profound stillness. There is no sound but the faintest whisper of high-altitude wind. You are standing on solid ground, yet this ground is not static, it is alive. Beneath your feet, the earth is breathing. It is an impossibly slow breath, a single inhalation and exhalation that can last for 100 million years. The continents drift upon a sea of molten rock, dancing a slow and ancient waltz. This is the planet's pulse, a rhythm so deep and vast that our own heartbeats are but fleeting tremors against its steady geologic time. To understand this world of stone and fire, we will not look at maps or charts. Instead, we will follow the life of a single humble traveler. Our story begins with a tiny speck of quartz, a crystal clear and perfect born deep within the Earth's crust. It did not begin as sand. It began as fire. A molten tear of silica and oxygen cooling under unimaginable pressure miles beneath a mountain range that has not yet been named, for there is no one yet to name it. For millions of years, this is its entire world, locked in a dark, silent embrace, with feldspar and mica forming a solid piece of granite. It knows only pressure warmth and the patient, silent waiting that is the language of stone. It is a part of the mountain's very bones, a single thought in a mind of rock. Time, as we measure it, has no meaning here. An ice age can come and go, carving valleys in the rock above, and our crystal feels nothing but a slight, imperceptible shift in the deep cold. Dynasties of strange scaled creatures may rise and fall on the surface, their roars never penetrating this silent crystalline world. This is the essence of deep time, a scale of existence so immense it invites not anxiety, but a profound sense of peace. Our lives, our worries, our triumphs are a flicker against this backdrop of enduring stone. But nothing, not even a mountain, lasts forever. The great work of transformation is always underway. On the surface, millennia of rainfall, of freezing and thawing, begin their patient work. Water, the softest of things, becomes the most powerful of sculptors. It seeps into invisible cracks in the granite. In the cold of winter, it freezes, expands, and pushes the rock apart with relentless, gentle force. A crack finer than a hair widens over 1,000 years. The wind, carrying abrasive dust, scours the surface, polishing and wearing it down, molecule by molecule. A single root from a tenacious, lonely tree finds its way into a crevice, and with the slow, hydraulic power of life, it widens the gap. And then one day, after an eternity of waiting, a piece of the mountain gives way. Our piece of granite containing our tiny crystal tumbles down the mountainside in a great rock slide, crashing into a valley carved by an ancient glacier. For the first time, our crystal feels the sun. It has been liberated from the mountain's heart. The granite that once held it continues to break apart. Rainwater, slightly acidic, dissolves the softer minerals around it, and finally, after an age spent in darkness, our quartz crystal is freed. It is no longer part of a mountain. It is now a single solitary grain of sand. Its journey truly begins. It is swept into a small, fast-flowing mountain stream. Its sharp edges are tumbled smooth against countless other grains, each with its own story of fire and pressure. The journey is a constant percussive dance, a rolling, bouncing, and sliding over the stream bed. It travels for centuries this way, moving only during the spring, melt resting for decades in a quiet pool. The stream joins a river, and the journey becomes slower, more majestic. It passes through landscapes that shift and change. Forests of giant ferns rise and fall on the riverbanks. The climate warms then cools. The river it travels in changes its course, carving new paths through the land. Our grain of sand is a silent witness. It holds no memory in the way we do, but the story is etched upon its very being in its rounded shape, in the microscopic scratches on its surface. It is a messenger from a world long gone. Finally, after a journey that has lasted longer than the entirety of human civilization, the river meets the sea. The fresh water slows and spreads, losing its power, and our grain of sand settles gently out of the current. It comes to rest on the vast continental shelf, joining a community of trillions upon trillions of other grains. Some are from its own mountain siblings of granite. Others are the ground-down shells of tiny sea creatures, particles of volcanic ash or dust blown from a desert halfway across the world. Here on the quiet seabed, a new chapter begins. The slow, patient work of burial. Layer upon layer sediment rains down from the water above. The weight of the ocean itself is a constant pressure, but now the weight of accumulating sand, mud, and organic matter adds to it. 1,000 years adds a layer as thin as paper. 1,000,000 years adds a layer many feet thick. The water that once carried our grain of sand is squeezed out from the spaces between it. Minerals dissolved in that trapped water begin to crystallize, acting as a natural cement. They bind our grain of sand to its neighbors. The pressure increases, the temperature rises, and a slow alchemy takes place. The loose collection of individual grains becomes a single, unified thing. It is transformed. It has become sandstone. Our traveler is once again part of a greater whole, locked in a new kind of stone, under the deep, dark blue of the ocean. And as our grain of sand lies still embedded in the ocean floor, the Earth's great engine continues its work. The planet's crust is not one solid piece, but a mosaic of colossal plates. These plates float upon the mantle, a layer of rock so hot it behaves like a thick, slow-moving liquid. This movement, driven by the immense heat escaping from the planet's core, is what we call plate tectonics. It is the slow breath we first imagined. Some plates are pulling apart, creating new crust at mid-ocean ridges. Others, like the one our sandstone now rests upon, are colliding. This immense internal heat does more than just move the continents. Deep in the center of the Earth, a churning ball of liquid iron, larger than the moon, generates a vast and powerful magnetic field. We cannot see it or touch it, yet it is as essential to us as the air we breathe. It streams out from the poles and wraps the Earth in an invisible shield, a force field that extends for thousands of miles into space. This is our planet's guardian. It deflects the solar wind, a constant stream of charged particles from the sun that would otherwise strip away our atmosphere and boil our oceans. Without this molten heart, this fiery dynamo, the surface of the earth would be a barren, irradiated wasteland. The life that flourishes on the surface, the very possibility of green things and thinking minds, is protected by this silent, fiery dance in the planet's core. Our grain of sand, buried deep in the crust, is oblivious to this shield, yet its entire journey was made possible by it. The oceanic plate carrying our layer of sandstone is moving inch by inch, year by year, towards a continental plate. Because the oceanic crust is denser, it begins to slide beneath the continent in a process called subduction. Our sandstone and the grain of sand within it begins a slow descent back into the depths from which its elements first came. As it sinks deeper, the pressure becomes titanic, the heat more and more intense. The very structure of the rock begins to change. The individual sand grains are fused together, their boundaries blurring until they recrystallize into a new, much harder and denser rock quartzite. This is the third act in the life of a rock metamorphosis. Our grain is no longer a grain. Its individual identity is lost, forged into a new, glittering crystalline matrix. It has been changed by its journey, reborn through fire and pressure, not into what it was, but into something new. The descent continues. Deeper and deeper, it goes back into the mantle. The heat becomes so overwhelming that even the strong bonds of the quartzite can no longer hold. The rock, which began as fire, now returns to fire. It melts, dissolving back into the great slow-churning river of magma. Our traveler's long journey is over. Its form is gone, its structure erased, but its substance remains. The atoms of silicon and oxygen that once formed our perfect crystal are now part of the mantle, ready to wait for perhaps another 100 million years, until a plume of magma brings them to the surface once more through a volcano to cool into new granite and begin the cycle all over again. From mountain to sand, from sand to stone, and from stone back to fire. This is the architecture of our world. It is a story of constant, patient recycling. It teaches us that stability is not found in stillness, but in endless transformation. The ground beneath our feet feels solid, permanent, and safe, and it is. But its safety comes from this powerful, dynamic, and eternal cycle. The mountains are temporary, the oceans shift, but the process, the great breathing of the planet, endures. The stone remembers. It holds the memory of fire, of water, of pressure, and of time. And so, the stone returns to the fire, its long story given back to the heart of the world, its journey facilitated by the very medium that first received it from the river. But what of the water itself? The vast ocean that accepted the sand and presided over its transformation into rock holds memories of its own. These are not memories written in mineral and crystal, but in salt and current in the chemistry of forgotten ages and in the very pulse of life itself. To understand our world, we must now leave the solid certainty of the stone and turn our attention to the planet's deep liquid consciousness. We must listen to the ocean's memory. Let your awareness drift now, like a small boat on a vast, calm sea. Let it be carried by the gentle rhythm of your breath, a rhythm as old as the tides themselves. We leave behind the solid ground, the world of defined edges and fixed positions, and we journey to the heart of our world's great mystery, the ocean. Imagine for a moment a single molecule of water. It is ancient, older than the mountains, older than any living thing you have ever seen. For millennia, it has been part of this immense breathing body of the sea, somewhere in the warm, sunlit waters of the tropics. Here near the surface, the world is a dazzling dance of light. Sunbeams pierce the blue, scattering into shimmering curtains that illuminate schools of silver fish and the slow, graceful drift of a sea turtle. Our molecule is part of this dance, indistinguishable from the trillions upon trillions of its companions, yet it holds a story. It has a journey to begin. The sun, a great golden heart in the sky, warms the surface. Its energy is a gentle, persistent call, and our molecule begins to feel a lightness, a pull upwards. It vibrates, separating from its neighbors, shedding its liquid form. It rises. Transformed into vapor, it becomes weightless, an invisible speck, ascending into the vast, open air. It leaves behind the salt, the cool depths, the life of the sea, and joins the great exhalation of the planet. Up, it floats into the blue expanse where it meets countless others who have made the same journey. They gather together, drawn by unseen forces, coalescing into the soft, white architecture of a cloud. From within this floating sanctuary, the world below looks different. The ocean is no longer a place of intimate detail, but a single sweeping canvas of deep indigo. Our molecule, now part of this great atmospheric river, begins to travel. Carried by the trade winds, the cloud drifts across the curve of the earth. It is a vessel of memory, carrying the signature of the tropical sea, its warmth and its essence, to distant lands. The journey takes weeks. The cloud passes over islands, ringed with turquoise, over the deep, uninterrupted blue of the open Pacific, and finally, over the edge of a continent. The air grows colder. The warmth that lifted our molecule from the sea begins to fade. And with this change, another transformation begins. The invisible vapor crystallizes. A perfect six-sided lattice of ice forms around a microscopic speck of dust, a piece of cosmic dust perhaps, or a grain of pollen from a long vanished forest. It becomes a snowflake, unique, intricate, and silent. It begins its slow, spiraling descent. Below, there is no warm sea, no green land, but an immense frozen wilderness. A glacier, a river of ice that has been flowing in imperceptible slowness for thousands of years. Our snowflake lands a whisper of white on a vast field of white. It is soon buried by others, and then more and more. The weight of winters builds up layer upon layer. The delicate crystal is compressed, its airy structure crushed, until it becomes part of the dense blue ice of the glacier itself. Here, time itself seems to freeze. Decades pass like moments. Centuries slip by. Our water molecule is now part of a great planetary archive. Trapped within this ice are bubbles of ancient air, telling the story of the Earth's atmosphere from an age before human cities. There is volcanic ash from eruptions that reshaped mountains and dust from deserts on the other side of the world. Our molecule rests here in a deep, silent sleep, a frozen memory in the Earth's library. It waits. And then, after a sleep that has lasted longer than empires, a subtle shift occurs. The world is warming. A single clear drop of water forms on the glacier's edge, catching the light of a sun it has not felt for 500 years. Another joins it. A trickle begins. Our molecule, finally released from its icy prison, begins to move again. It joins a current of meltwater, carving a channel through the ancient ice. The trickle becomes a stream tumbling over rocks that have been scraped smooth by the glacier's slow advance. The water is cold and pure, carrying the memory of its long, frozen slumber. The stream flows into a river, a rushing, energetic artery carving its way down the mountainside. It travels through alpine meadows dotted with resilient wildflowers, through dark forests of pine, where the air smells of damp earth and resin. The river gains strength joined by other tributaries, each carrying stories from their own corners of the watershed. Our molecule is on a long journey home. It passes nascent signs of civilization, a small wooden bridge, the distant smoke from a chimney. It flows through fertile valleys, where the river's sediment has nourished the land for generations. It has traveled from sky to ice to earth, and now it can smell the sea again. The air changes, growing soft and salty. The river widens, slows, and finally at an estuary, where grasses bend in the tidal breeze, it merges with the ocean. Our molecule is home. It dissolves back into the great collective consciousness of the water. But its journey is far from over. It has returned, but the ocean it has returned to is not a static pool. It is a dynamic living system with its own deep hidden currents. Pulled by changes in temperature and salinity, our molecule sinks. It leaves the sunlit world behind and descends into the twilight zone, where light fades to a perpetual dusk. Further down, it goes into the abyss. The pressure here is immense, a crushing weight that would obliterate any creature from the surface. The darkness is absolute, a blackness untouched by the sun for eternity. And yet there is life. This is the ocean's secret world. Ghostly creatures drift by, illuminated by their own cold blue light bioluminescence. A squid with enormous eyes hangs motionless in the dark. A chain of glowing jellies pulses in a silent, coordinated rhythm. This is a world that runs on a different set of rules, a different kind of energy. Our molecule is caught in a vast, slow-moving current, a part of what scientists call the global conveyor belt. It is the circulatory system of our planet. Just as blood flows through our bodies, carrying warmth and oxygen, these deep ocean currents circulate heat around the globe, shaping our climates in profound ways. This slow, deep river, 1,000 times greater than the Amazon, will carry our molecule on a journey that could last 1,000 years before it sees the sun again. It is the planet's slow, deep heartbeat. And as it travels in this deep internal river, we are reminded of an astonishing connection. The saltiness of the ocean, the specific balance of sodium, potassium, and calcium is uncannily similar to the composition of the fluid in our own veins, in our own cells. Life on Earth began in this salty cradle, and when our distant ancestors finally crawled onto the land, they carried the ocean with them, sealed within their skin. We are each of us a walking, breathing ocean. Its memory is not just in the ice or the currents. Its memory is in our blood. The current carries our molecule past a strange, jagged landscape on the seafloor, a range of underwater volcanoes. And from cracks in the rock, something extraordinary is happening. Plumes of black, superheated water, rich with minerals from deep within the Earth's crust, are billowing upwards, like smoke from a chimney. These are hydrothermal vents, the planet's own deep-sea furnaces. In this place of crushing pressure and total darkness, where photosynthesis is impossible, life shouldn't exist. And yet it thrives. Giant tube worms, white crabs, and strange pale fish cluster around these vents. They have found a way to live not on the energy of the sun, but on the chemical energy of the earth itself. It is a profound revelation. Life does not require light only a source of energy. And it is here, in the deep, warm darkness of the ocean, that many believe life on our planet may have first sparked into existence. The ocean is not just a habitat, it is the womb. But look closer at this seemingly alien ecosystem. The foundation of this vibrant community is not the large visible creatures. The true masters of this world are entirely unseen. The tube worms and the crabs and all the other life here survive because they have formed a partnership with vast colonies of microscopic organisms. It is these tiny single-celled beings that can take the harsh chemicals erupting from the vents and transform them into life-giving energy. They are the true producers, the foundation of this entire world, an entire ecosystem built in darkness, powered by the planet's inner fire. The ocean in its vastness and its depths teaches us this profound lesson. Its memory is not held in water alone, but in the chain of life it has supported for billions of years. Its power is not just in the crashing wave, but in the quiet, transformative work of the infinitesimally small. And it is to these silent, unseen architects, the true foundation of our living world, that we must now turn our attention. From the boundless ocean, our single molecule of water begins a new journey. Lifted by the patient warmth of the sun, it rises into the vast blue expanse, joining a silent, vaporous congregation in the clouds. It drifts over continents, a traveler without a destination, until the air grows cool and heavy. And then it begins to fall. A single drop of rain descending through the canopy of an ancient forest, landing softly upon a bed of moss. Here, we leave the macrocosm of oceans and weather systems behind. Our awareness, which has been as wide as the sea, now contracts. Let it shrink gently and without effort. Down past the towering trees, past the ferns, and the forest floor, littered with the patient calligraphy of fallen leaves. Down past the roots of things, into the soil itself. Imagine your perspective condensing, becoming smaller and smaller still, until a single grain of sand is a boulder and a clod of earth is a mountain range. We have arrived in the kingdom of the architects, the silent, unseen forces that build the world from the ground up. The air here is thick with a scent of damp earth, of life and decay, held in perfect balance. It is not empty, this space between the soil particles. It is a metropolis, teeming with a density of life that rivals any city built by human hands. And its citizens are the true elders of this planet. They are the bacteria and the archaea, single-celled beings who have inhabited this world for billions of years, long before the first plant or animal ever drew breath. We often think of them as simple, but here in their own domain, their sophistication is breathtaking. See them now, not as threats or germs, but as master chemists, tireless engineers, and living libraries of genetic wisdom. They cling to the surfaces of minerals, their tiny bodies forming iridescent films. They are the alchemists of the underworld, performing transformations that make life on the surface possible. Watch as one bacterium with an imperceptible hum of chemical energy grasps a molecule of nitrogen from the air trapped in the soil. It is an element essential for life, yet, in its gaseous form, it is useless to the great trees above. This tiny being, in a feat of biochemical artistry, breaks its powerful bonds and weaves it into a form that plants can drink, a form that will become a leaf, a flower, a fruit. It is an act of creation performed in absolute silence, repeated trillions of times in every moment, in every handful of earth. Others are miners, secreting gentle acids that dissolve the rock itself, liberating phosphorus, potassium, and iron from their mineral prisons. They are unlocking the pantry of the earth, making the very bones of the planet available as nourishment. They are the foundation of the entire food web, the quiet, humble support upon which all visible life is built. They have been doing this work for eons, terraforming the planet on a microscopic scale, preparing it for the world we know. Their collective consciousness is not one of thought, but of chemistry. It is a slow planetary intelligence that regulates the cycles of elements, ensuring that nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed. As we drift deeper into the soil city, we encounter a different kind of architecture. A fallen leaf, once a vibrant sail catching sunlight, now rests on the dark earth. To our human eyes, it is decaying, a symbol of an end. But from this microscopic perspective, it is a cathedral of renewal. An entire community is at work on its surface. Legions of bacteria and fungi are gently disassembling it, molecule by molecule. They are not destroying it. They are honoring it. They are unlocking the carbon, the sugars, the minerals that the tree so carefully assembled, and preparing them as a gift for the next generation. This process, which we call rot, is perhaps the most sacred act in all of nature. It is the bridge between death and life. Without these humble decomposers, the world would be buried under the dead remains of everything that has ever lived. Nutrients would be locked away forever, and life would grind to a halt. But here in the dark, there is no waste. Every ending is a prelude to a beginning. The leaf becomes the soil becomes the seed, and the seed becomes the forest once more. It is a cycle of perpetual grace, managed by the smallest of beings. They are the planet's memory keepers, ensuring that the wisdom of one life is passed on to the next. Now shift your awareness to a different structure, a different form of intelligence that permeates this entire landscape. All around us are shimmering, translucent threads, finer than any spider's silk, weaving through the soil in every direction. They are the hyphae of fungi, and together they form a vast interconnected network known as a mycelial web. This is the nervous system of the forest, the Earth's living internet. If the bacteria are chemists, the fungi are communicators and traders. This network connects the roots of nearly every plant in this forest, from the mightiest oak to the smallest wildflower. It is a subterranean marketplace, a dynamic web of exchange. Let your awareness follow a single thread. It winds its way through the dark, wrapping itself gently around the tip of a root. The tree above, rich with sugars from the sun, offers a portion of its sweetness to the fungus. In return, the mycelial thread, with its vast surface area, gathers water and rare minerals like phosphorus from far beyond the tree's own reach and delivers them directly to the root. It is a partnership of profound elegance. But the network does more than just trade. It carries information. When one tree is attacked by insects, it can release chemical signals into the mycelial web, warning its neighbors. The other trees receiving this silent message can then begin producing defensive compounds in their leaves before the insects even arrive. The network shares resources, shunting carbon and nutrients from healthy sun-drenched elder trees to young saplings struggling in the shade, nurturing the next generation. It is a cooperative, a forest-wide consciousness that operates on a timescale far slower than our own. It is a reminder that the world is not just a collection of competing individuals, but a deeply interwoven community. This silent underground web is the wisdom of the ecosystem, made manifest, a living model of collaboration that has sustained these forests for millions of years. Let our awareness now rise from the rich, dark soil. Let it move upward past the moss and come to rest on the bark of a tree, or perhaps a sun-warmed stone. Here we find another marvel, another testament to life's creative genius for cooperation. We see a splash of color, pale green, dusty orange, or smoky gray, a pattern that seems painted onto the surface. This is a lichen. It appears to be a single organism, but it is not. It is a community, a living testament to symbiosis, so complete that two separate beings have become one. The physical structure, the house of the lichen, is a fungus. It provides shelter, anchors them to the rock, and acts like a sponge, gathering and holding precious moisture from the rain and morning dew. And living within the protective lattice of this fungal home are its partners, millions of microscopic algae or cyanobacteria. These are the green cells, the tiny solar panels. While the fungus provides a safe place to live, the algae perform the miracle of photosynthesis, capturing the energy of the sun and turning it into sugar's food for both partners. Together, they can live where neither could survive alone. They are pioneers, the first to colonize bare rock slowly and patiently, creating the first dusting of soil for others to follow. The fungus cannot eat sunlight, and the alga cannot withstand the harsh exposure of the open rock. But together, they thrive. They are a living poem about the power of partnership. They show us that life's most resilient and creative forms are often not the strongest or the most aggressive, but those that have learned to form bonds of mutual support. The lichen is a quiet lesson written on stone that the very essence of life is relationship. It is not a battle for survival, but a dance of interdependence. And in that dance within the heart of the lichen, we witness that spark of green life, the alga, patiently breathing in sunlight. In that single humble cell, we find the seed of a far greater story. It is the story of how this entire planet learned to do the same, how it mastered the art of eating light. It is the story of how a world of rock and water clothed itself in a living, breathing garment of green, transforming its very atmosphere and paving the way for the world we see today. From this microscopic partnership, our journey now expands, turning our gaze toward that planetary miracle and the quiet, profound intelligence of the green kingdom that sustains us all. Isthmus of our world, we land here on this soft bed of moss at the foot of an ancient giant. The drop of water does not linger on the surface. It is drawn downward past the velvet green carpet into the dark, rich soil below. Here in the cool, quiet earth, a new kind of journey begins. It is no longer a journey of falling or flowing, but of being drawn upward, summoned by a force that is ancient, patient, and alive. The water molecule finds its way into a delicate fibrous tendril, a single thread in a vast subterranean network. It has entered the root of a tree, and as it is pulled into this immense living being, our perspective shifts. We are no longer a solitary drop of water, but part of a slow, vast consciousness. We are inside a bristlecone pine perched high on a windswept mountain slope, a being that has measured its life not in days or years, but in millennia. Time from this vantage point is not a river that rushes past, but a slow tide that rises and falls with the turning of constellations. The sun of 1,000 summers has warmed its bark. The snows of 1,000 winters have settled upon its branches. It has felt the world change in ways that faster lives could never comprehend. To be this tree is to feel the slow, steady pull of gravity, an anchor to the rocky heart of the world. It is to feel the patient journey of water drawn up from the deep earth through intricate channels in its trunk, a silent, cool current rising against the downward pull of the planet. This journey is a pilgrimage moving from the darkness of the soil toward the light of the sky. The water travels through the sapwood, a silent elevator, ascending hundreds of feet, branching out into limbs, then smaller boughs, until it reaches its final destination, a small cluster of needles bundled together at the end of a twig. Here, in these simple, humble leaves, the greatest miracle of our world unfolds quietly and constantly. As the sun's rays travel 93 million miles across the void of space to touch this mountainside, they find these needles waiting. The light, a stream of pure energy of photons, is not merely felt as warmth. It is captured, it is welcomed, it is consumed. Inside each needle, in microscopic chambers called chloroplasts, a sacred alchemy takes place. The green pigment chlorophyll is the key. It is a molecule perfectly tuned to the frequency of sunlight. It catches the light and, in a process of breathtaking elegance, uses its energy to break apart the water molecules that have traveled all the way from the roots. At the same time, tiny pores on the surface of the needle, called stomata, open like gentle mouths to breathe in the air. They draw in carbon dioxide, the exhaled breath of the animal world, the very gas we release with every sigh. And then the transformation. Using the energy of the sun, the tree combines this captured carbon with the hydrogen from the water. It forges them together into a new substance, a simple sugar. This is life itself condensed. It is sunlight made solid. It is energy from a distant star woven into a form that can be used to build a trunk, to grow a root, to unfurl a new needle. This is photosynthesis. It is the silent, unceasing conversion of light into life. And in this process, there is a byproduct. A single element is left over when the water molecule is split oxygen. The tree does not need it. And so, through those same tiny pores, it is released. A gentle, invisible exhalation. The green breath of the world. This breath is a gift. It is the waste product of one kingdom that has become the vital essence of another. Every animal that walks, crawls, or flies, including ourselves, depends on this steady, silent offering. For millennia, this tree has stood here, breathing out the air that fuels the fires of metabolism in lungs across the globe. It asks for nothing in return but sunlight, water, and the very air we exhale. It is a perfect cyclical partnership, a quiet conversation between kingdoms. From the tree's slow perspective, this act of creation is not a thought, but a state of being. It is a deep cellular humming, a resonance with the sun. It feels the warmth of dawn as a call to begin, and the coolness of dusk as a signal to rest. The sugars it creates flow downward through another set of channels, the phloem feeding every part of its body, from the highest needle to the deepest root. It is a slow, sweet internal river of life, the tangible result of its daily communion with the light. This ancient being holds a memory deeper than its own life. It is connected through its DNA to an unbroken chain of ancestors stretching back for billions of years. It remembers in its very structure a different Earth, an Earth with a pale orange sky and rust-colored oceans choking under an atmosphere thick with methane and carbon dioxide. a world without a single green thing upon its rocky continents. It was a world hostile to the kind of life we know. But then, in the shallow sunlit waters, the ancestors of this tree, humble single-celled cyanobacteria, began their quiet work. They learned the trick of photosynthesis. They began to drink the light and exhale this strange new gas oxygen. At first, it was a poison. It was a pollutant that caused a great dying, wiping out countless forms of anaerobic life. But over hundreds of millions of years this poison accumulated. It rusted the iron out of the oceans, turning them from green to blue. It rose into the sky, transforming it from a hazy orange into the brilliant, transparent azure we know today. It built the ozone layer, a vital shield against the sun's harshest radiation, allowing life to finally emerge from the safety of the water and colonize the barren land. Then came the first true plants, then the mosses, the ferns, and finally the great forests. The ancestors of this tree were part of a planetary engineering project of unimaginable scale. They terraformed a world. They changed the composition of the atmosphere, cooled the climate, and created the soil beneath their own roots. Every breath you take is a testament to their long, patient labor. This old bristlecone is a living monument to that revolution, its gnarled trunk a testament to the power of green things to create a habitable world from rock and light. And it is not alone in its work. For this tree, though it appears as a solitary individual, is part of a vast and intricate community. Its awareness extends far beyond the reach of its own branches. Down in the darkness, its roots are intertwined with the roots of its neighbors. But they are not just touching, they are connected. They are plugged into a hidden network, a subterranean web of fungal threads known as a mycorrhizal network. Some call it the Wood Wide Web. Through this network, the forest communicates. It is a language without words, a conversation of chemistry. The great old trees, the mother trees, like this one, that have access to more sunlight, can send excess sugars down through their roots and into the network, sharing their bounty with younger saplings struggling in the shade. They are nurturing the next generation. If one tree is attacked by a pest, it can release chemical distress signals into the fungal web, a warning that travels through the soil to other trees. Forewarned, its neighbors can begin to produce defensive compounds in their leaves, preparing for the impending attack. The forest acts not as a collection of competing individuals, but as a cooperative, intelligent system. It is a single sprawling organism, bound together by this silent underground consciousness. The conversation also happens in the air. When its needles are bruised, the tree releases volatile organic compounds, specific aromatic chemicals that drift on the wind. For us, this might be the pleasant, sharp scent of pine. But for other plants and for insects, it is a clear message. It is a cry for help or a declaration of territory. Some signals can attract predatory insects that will feed on the pests attacking the tree. The air itself is a medium for a slow, complex dialogue. The world of plants is not a silent one. We just haven't been listening with the right senses. Now, let us zoom in from the scale of the entire forest to the smallest component of this great being. Let us consider a single needle. It is a masterpiece of design perfected over hundreds of millions of years. Its waxy coating protects it from the drying mountain winds. Its slender shape minimizes water loss and helps it shed the heavy winter snows. Its veins are a delicate fractal plumbing system, carrying water out and sugar back in. Its green is the color of life itself, the precise shade of a molecule built to dance with light. For 5, maybe 10 years, this needle will perform its quiet essential work. It will breathe it, will drink the light, it will feed the tree. And then, its work done, it will fall. It will drift down to the forest floor, joining a thick blanket of its predecessors. But this is not an end. It is another transformation. Fungi and bacteria will begin the work of decomposition, slowly breaking the needle down, unlocking the nutrients stored within it, the carbon, the nitrogen, the phosphorus. They will release these elements back into the soil, where they will be taken up once more by the tree's roots, ready to be built into a new needle, a new branch, a new ring of wood. The tree feeds on its own past in a perfect closed loop of renewal. Nothing is wasted. Everything is given back. This ancient tree, standing on its high perch, is therefore more than just wood and leaf. It is a bridge between the sky and the earth. It is a conduit for energy, turning the fire of the sun into the substance of the world. It is a sanctuary. Its rough bark is a landscape for lichens and mosses, entire ecosystems thriving in its crevices. Its branches are a home for birds, a highway for squirrels. Its shade is a refuge for deer and bear on a hot summer's day. Its roots hold the soil in place, preventing the mountain from washing away in the rain. Its very presence shapes the world around it. It does not think of this. It does not act with intention. It simply is. And in its being, it gives. It is a living lesson in generosity. Its breath is not its own. Its body is not its own. The sunlight it captures becomes food, not just for itself, but for the fungus at its roots, for the caterpillar on its leaf, for the bird that eats the caterpillar. Its life is woven into 1,000 other lives, its existence a foundational thread holding a whole community together. And in that, we see that the boundary between this single tree and the world around it begins to dissolve. It is not an isolated object, but a node in a network of breathtaking complexity. Every living thing it touches, from the microbe in the soil to the eagle soaring overhead, is also a thread connected in ways both visible and invisible. The breath it gives is taken in by the mountain lion. The nut it drops feeds the chipmunk. The water it pulls from the earth is returned to the sky through its leaves. It is a part of a pattern, a participant in a vast, interconnected dance. The tree, the fungus, the soil, the air, the animal, they are not separate entities. They are all expressions of a single unified and magnificent whole. Latendril, a single questing thread in a vast subterranean network. It is carried upward through the xylem, the silent woody arteries of a great tree ascending from darkness into a world of dappled light. Within the tissues of a leaf warmed by the sun, the journey of the water molecule merges with the journey of light, powering the quiet miracle of photosynthesis, creating sugar, creating life. This single drop of water, once a part of a cloud, then a stream, is now woven into the very fabric of the forest. This leaf, now rich with energy from the sun, becomes a meal for a caterpillar. The caterpillar, in turn, becomes nourishment for a chickadee, its wings a blur of motion as it carries this captured sunlight back to its nest. The bird's call echoes through the canopy, a single note in the immense symphony of the woods. Its life powered by the caterpillar, which was powered by the leaf, which was powered by the sun, and the water is a testament to a simple, profound truth. Nothing exists in isolation. Every life is a link in a chain, a thread in a vast and sacred tapestry, From the quiet, vertical world of the forest, let our journey follow the water once more. It is released from the leaf as vapor joins a cloud and falls again, this time into a river that winds its way patiently, inevitably toward the great expanse of the sea. Here, beneath the waves, in a world of blue light and suspended silence, the same story of connection unfolds, but in a form so vibrant, so densely woven, that it appears as a living city sculpted from light and time. We have arrived at a coral reef. At first, it seems to be a geological formation, a fantastic landscape of stone castles, branching spires, and delicate fanning plates. But look closer. Each structure is not stone, but the collective home of millions upon millions of tiny animals, coral polyps. Each polyp is a simple creature, a soft-bodied tube with a ring of stinging tentacles. Alone it is vulnerable, but together they build empires. Over centuries they secrete skeletons of calcium carbonate, one generation, building upon the skeletal remains of the last, crafting these immense and complex structures that can be seen even from space. Yet they do not build this world alone. Housed within the very tissues of each polyp live microscopic algae called zooxanthellae. This is not a tenancy of convenience. It is a bond of absolute necessity. The coral polyp, an animal, provides a safe, sunlit home protected from the open ocean. In return, the algae, a plant, performs photosynthesis. It captures the energy of the sun's rays penetrating the clear, shallow water and transforms it into sugars. These sugars become the primary source of food for the coral, providing up to 90% of its energy. This is the foundational partnership of the reef. Without the algae, the coral would starve, losing its brilliant color and turning a skeletal white in a process known as bleaching. Without the coral, the algae would have no anchor, no protected place to thrive in the sun. This intimate dance is the engine of the entire ecosystem. The vibrant blues, the fiery oranges, the deep purples of the reef are not the colors of the coral animal itself, but the living glow of its microscopic partners. It is a city built on a covenant, a world whose very foundations are an act of cooperation. Upon this living stage, 1,000 other stories play out. Watch the parrotfish, with its beak-like mouth and coat of iridescent scales. It moves along the coral, scraping not just the filamentous algae that grows on the surface, but tiny bits of the coral skeleton itself. It is a gardener, keeping the coral clean, preventing it from being smothered by faster-growing algae. As it digests the organic matter, it grinds the stony calcium carbonate in its gut and excretes it as fine white sand. A single large parrotfish can produce hundreds of pounds of sand in a year. The soft white beaches of tropical islands are in large part the patient work of these tireless swimming gardeners. Their life is woven into the health of the coral, and the very shape of the surrounding land is woven into the life of the parrotfish. In the crevices and shadows, a different kind of life unfolds. A moray eel, its serpentine body tucked into a cavern, waits patiently. Its existence is a counterpoint to the busy grazers. It is a predator, its presence shaping the behavior of the smaller fish, teaching them caution, forcing them to be aware. A grouper hangs almost motionless in the water column, its wide mouth capable of inhaling a smaller creature in a fraction of a second. These hunters are not agents of chaos, they are agents of balance. They prune the reef's populations, ensuring that no single species of smaller fish becomes so numerous that it overwhelms its food source. And then, moving with a fluid grace that belies its power, comes a reef shark. It is an ancient design perfected over millions of years. Its role here is not one of simple predation, but of regulation at the highest level. The shark often targets the slow, the sick, or the unwary. By removing these individuals, it strengthens the gene pool of the prey species. Its presence keeps the mid-level predators, like the grouper, in check, preventing them from becoming too numerous and decimating the populations of smaller fish and invertebrates. The shark is a guardian of the reef's complexity. Its influence cascades down through every level of the food web, a stabilizing force that allows such dazzling diversity to flourish. The shark is what ecologists call a keystone species. The term comes from architecture. The keystone is the central wedge-shaped stone at the very top of an arch. It is not the largest stone, nor does it bear the most weight, but without it, the entire arch collapses. In an ecosystem, a keystone species is one whose influence is disproportionately large relative to its numbers. Its removal can trigger a catastrophic chain reaction, causing the entire structure to unravel. To understand this more clearly, let us travel from the warm waters of the reef to the cool, temperate currents of the North Pacific. Here in the great kelp forests, another keystone species holds the world together, the sea otter. These playful, charismatic mammals, floating on their backs and cracking open shells on their chests, have a voracious appetite for sea urchins. Sea urchins, in turn, are voracious grazers of kelp. In a healthy ecosystem, the otters keep the urchin population in check. The kelp, a type of giant algae that can grow more than a foot a day, forms vast underwater forests. These forests provide a critical three-dimensional habitat for countless species of fish snails, crabs, and other marine life. They are the nurseries of the coastal ocean. But when fur traders hunted the sea otters to near extinction in the 18th and 19th centuries, the keystone was removed. Without their primary predator, the sea urchin populations exploded. They swarmed across the seafloor in devouring hordes, mowing down the kelp forests at their base. The vast, complex, vibrant forests disappeared, replaced by barren, desolate plains known as urchin barrens. The fish, the crabs, the snails, all the creatures who depended on the kelp for food and shelter vanished. The ecosystem collapsed. The reintroduction of sea otters in the 20th century has reversed this damage in many areas, a powerful demonstration of how the presence of a single species can restore an entire world. The return of the otter is the return of the forest. The same story echoes on land in places like Yellowstone National Park, where the reintroduction of the wolf, another keystone predator, has led to healthier elk herds, the recovery of willow and aspen groves, and even a change in the course of rivers. This intricate web of dependence is not merely a matter of who eats whom. It is a dance of mutual adaptation, a process of coevolution that unfolds over immense spans of time. Let us return to the reef and look for a small, brightly colored fish darting amongst the waving tentacles of a sea anemone. This is the clownfish. The anemone's tentacles are armed with stinging cells lethal to other fish of a similar size. Yet the clownfish is unharmed. Over countless generations, it has evolved a special layer of mucus on its skin that tricks the anemone into believing the fish is a part of itself. The clownfish gains an impenetrable fortress, a safe haven from predators. But what does the anemone gain? The clownfish is a meticulous housekeeper, cleaning debris from the anemone's oral disc. It fearlessly darts out to chase away butterfly fish and other creatures that might prey on the anemone's tentacles. Its bright territorial movements may even lure in smaller fish for the anemone to eat. They have shaped one another. The fish's biochemistry, its behavior, its very survival strategy has been molded by the anemone. The anemone's health and safety are in turn enhanced by the fish. Theirs is a story written in the language of evolution, a partnership so deep it is etched into their very being. This dance happens everywhere. It is the long, curved beak of a hummingbird, perfectly matched to the deep, trumpet-shaped flower from which it drinks nectar, pollinating it in the process. It is the complex chemical defenses of a milkweed plant and the unique ability of the monarch butterfly caterpillar to not only tolerate those toxins, but to store them in its own body as a defense against predators. Each species is a sculptor, and the clay it works with is the evolutionary path of another. When we zoom out, when we see all these connections at once, the coral and its algae, the parrotfish and the sand, the shark and the health of the fish, the clownfish and the anemone, we begin to see the reef not as a collection of individual creatures, but as a single sprawling superorganism. It has a metabolism fueled by the sun. It has a skeleton built by the polyps. It has a circulatory system in the flow of currents bringing nutrients. It has an immune system in the predators and grazers who maintain its health and balance. It is a single coherent entity, a community breathing and growing as one. This is the great tapestry of being. Every species is a thread, and every interaction is a knot that holds the fabric together. The color and strength of one thread depends on the threads woven all around it. Pull a single thread, the sea otter, the wolf, the coral polyp, and you might see a small fray, or you might watch as a whole section unravels into chaos. The beauty of the pattern lies not in any single thread, but in the integrity of the whole, in the way each part gives meaning and strength to every other. This living fabric, this intricate city of the sea, is not a static masterpiece. It is alive with rhythm. As the sun's light begins to fade, a profound shift occurs. The daytime fish, the parrotfish, and the angelfish retreat into the crevices of the reef for safety. A new cast of characters emerges from the shadows. The nocturnal hunters, the octopus, the spiny lobster, the squirrelfish with its large eyes adapted for the dark begin to prowl. The reef at night is a different world governed by different rules, yet it is part of the same whole. The tapestry has a day side and a night side woven together in a seamless cycle. This daily pulse is echoed by a deeper monthly rhythm, once a year cued by the precise phase of the moon and the temperature of the water. The corals of the entire reef engage in a synchronized mass spawning. In a single spectacular event, they release their eggs and sperm into the water column, a milky, hopeful cloud that ensures the creation of a new generation. This delicate balance, this intricate web of life is a dance choreographed by a much larger partner. The sun that feeds the algae begins to set. The moon that pulls the tides and cues the spawning begins to rise. The entire tapestry breathes in and out, not just with the lives of its creatures, but with the turning of the world itself. And so the journey of that single drop of water, woven into the fabric of a leaf, becomes one with the great silent engine of the world. It is a story of transformation, powered by a star 93 million miles away. But the light that gives life to the leaf does not arrive as a constant, unchanging force. It comes in a rhythm, a pulse as fundamental as a heartbeat. The world does not simply exist in the light. It turns into it and then away from it in a slow and ceaseless dance. Imagine for a moment that we can rise above it all, leaving the single leaf, the forest, the continent behind. From this vantage point, our world is a sphere of blue and white suspended in the velvet black of space. One half is bathed in the brilliant glow of the sun, a hemisphere of life and activity. The other half is turned away, veiled in shadow and quiet. And between these two realms there is a line. It is not a sharp, unforgiving border, but a soft, gradual zone of transition. This is the terminator, the moving frontier between day and night. It is the place of dawn and the place of dusk, a great silent wave of light and shadow that perpetually sweeps across the face of the earth. Let us follow this line. It begins its journey over the vast breathing expanse of the Pacific Ocean. Here, the first hint of morning is not a sight, but a feeling. The black water, which has mirrored the cold, distant light of the stars, begins to soften. The horizon, once an indistinguishable fusion of sea and sky, finds its edge. A pale, ethereal glow, the color of pearl and rose, bleeds upward. Below the surface, the rhythm is felt. Phytoplankton. The microscopic forests of the sea begin to stir. Their simple ancient biology is tuned to this daily promise of energy. They drift upward, preparing to drink in the light, to perform the same quiet miracle as the leaf on the land, turning sunlight into life and breathing oxygen into the depths. The terminator sweeps onward, its leading edge of dawn touching the peaks of volcanic islands. The cool, moisture-laden air, which has pooled in the valleys overnight, begins to warm, and then the sound begins. It is the dawn chorus of a rainforest. It does not start all at once, but with a single tentative call from one bird, then another, as if they are checking to ensure the world is still there. Soon the air is thick with a symphony of whistles, clicks, and songs. It is a declaration, an announcement that the long, vulnerable darkness is over, and the time for foraging, for living, for being has returned. The howler monkeys add their deep, guttural roar to the chorus, a sound that seems to vibrate in your very bones, a primal affirmation of existence. Life in all its forms is singing the sun back into the sky. As this wave of awakening travels west, it leaves behind a world fully illuminated. The sun climbs higher, its light no longer the gentle gold of dawn, but the brilliant white of midday. It is in this full light that we can appreciate the simple, elegant mechanics of this daily rhythm. Our planet spins. It rotates on its axis, a line running through its poles at a steady pace of about 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. This spin is a relic of the cosmic dust and gas that first coalesced to form our world, a motion that has continued virtually unimpeded for over 4.5 billion years. It is this constant, reliable turn that gives us the gift of morning and the solace of night. Without it, one side of our world would be scorched into a lifeless desert, the other frozen in an eternal icy darkness. The spin is our planet's first and most fundamental breath, an inhalation of light and warmth, an exhalation into coolness and dark. But there is another subtlety to this dance one that gives our world not just a daily rhythm, but a yearly one. The Earth does not spin perfectly upright as it orbits the sun. It is tilted, leaning over at an angle of 23.5 degrees. This slight, persistent lean is the architect of our seasons. Think of the planet as a spinning top angled to one side as it moves in a great circle around a lamp. For part of its journey, its northern half is tilted toward the lamp, receiving the light more directly for longer periods. This is summer in the northern hemisphere. The days are long and warm, the sun arcs high across the sky, and life bursts forth in a profusion of growth. At the same time, the southern half is tilted away, experiencing the shorter days and glancing blows of winter. Then, as the Earth continues its orbit, the situation reverses. The southern hemisphere gets its turn to lean into the sun, welcoming its summer, while the north cools into winter. And between these extremes are the points of balance, the equinoxes of spring and autumn. At these two moments in the year, the tilt is sideways relative to the sun, and the terminator line runs directly from the North Pole to the South Pole. Day and night are for a brief moment of almost equal length all across the globe. These 4 points, the 2 solstices, the longest and shortest days, and the 2 equinoxes, the moments of balance, are the cornerstones of our year. For millennia, we have felt this rhythm in our bones. We built our lives, our calendars, our cultures around it. Ancient peoples with a deep and intuitive understanding of the sky erected great stone observatories like Stonehenge in England or the Sun Dagger petroglyph at Chaco Canyon. They were not just calendars. They were sacred places designed to mark the moment the sun reached its turning point, the moment it would begin its slow journey back, promising the return of warmth and light after the long, cold dark. To watch the solstice sun rise perfectly through a designated stone archway was to feel a profound connection to the cosmos, a reassurance that the great cycles of the world were intact, that life would continue. We have tried to insulate ourselves from these rhythms with electric lights and central heating, but the old clock still ticks within us. Now let us return to the Terminator, which has been moving silently onward all this time. It has crossed continents and is now bringing dusk to the vast arid landscapes of a desert. The fierce heat of the day begins to radiate back into the increasingly clear sky. The light is no longer white and harsh, but transforms into a rich liquid gold. The shadows of cacti and dunes stretch out like long fingers, painting the landscape in stark relief. The air cools rapidly. Diurnal creatures, the lizards and hawks, seek their final refuge for the night. And as the last sliver of the sun's disk dips below the horizon, a different world awakens. A kangaroo rat, perfectly adapted to the cool of the night, emerges from its burrow. A sidewinder snake begins its strange and beautiful dance across the sand, leaving its J-shaped tracks in the moonlight. The pale, luminous flowers of the evening primrose unfurl their petals, releasing their fragrance into the night air, waiting for the hawk moths that are their pollinators. The desert, which seemed so empty and still under the midday sun, now reveals itself to be teeming with a different kind of life, a secret world that thrives in the absence of heat and light. The Terminator is not an end, but a transition of power, a handing over of the world from one set of inhabitants to another. The wave of twilight continues its westward march, and now it encounters a different kind of constellation. It is not made of stars, but of electricity, a great city. One by one, then, in a flood, lights begin to flicker on in windows, along streets, atop towers. From above the city is a glowing web, a testament to humanity's attempt to conquer the night, to extend the day, to keep the world of commerce and activity running on a 24-hour schedule. We have created our own artificial daylight, and yet the ancient programming within our cells cannot be fooled. This is the world of circadian rhythms, the internal 24-hour clock that governs nearly all life, from the simplest bacteria to the complexities of the human body. This clock tells our bodies when to sleep, when to wake, when to release certain hormones, when to raise or lower our body temperature. It is a deeply ingrained inheritance from a world that has always turned a biological echo of the Terminator's daily passage. When we live in accordance with this rhythm, we feel rested, alert, and healthy. When we fight against it with late nights under artificial lights and erratic sleep schedules, our bodies and minds feel the strain. The glow of the city is a marvel of our ingenuity, but it can also be a profound source of disconnection from the natural pulse of the planet, the gentle healing cycle of light and dark that we are so intimately a part of. The Terminator sweeps on, leaving the sleeping city behind, and moves out over the last great ocean, the Atlantic. The night deepens. Here in the heart of the darkness, far from the glow of any land, the sky is overwhelming. The Milky Way stretches from horizon to horizon, a shimmering river of ancient light. We see that our sun is just one star among billions, our daily cycle of light, just one small rhythm in a universe of unimaginable scale and complexity. This cyclical nature of our world offers a profound philosophy, a counterpoint to the linear narrative of endless progress and growth that often dominates our thinking. A line seeks a destination, an endpoint, but a circle finds meaning in the journey itself, in the return. The seasons do not try to improve upon one another. Winter is not a failure of summer. It is a necessary and beautiful part of the whole. It is a time for rest, for consolidation, for the quiet work that must happen underground before the burst of spring is possible. Our own lives contain these seasons. There are times of exuberant growth and times of necessary withdrawal and reflection. To embrace the cyclical nature of being is to grant ourselves the permission to rest, to be fallow, to trust that the light will return. It is to understand that strength is not found in perpetual activity, but in the wisdom of knowing when to act and when to be still, aligning our personal energy with the great turning energy of the world. The daily turn of the earth and its yearly tilt are the most immediate and tangible rhythms we experience. They set the tempo for our lives, for our crops, for the very beating of our hearts. They are the hands on the clock that we can see and feel. But as we float here in the deep and silent night, looking down upon this sleeping world, we become aware that this clock has other hands, hands that move within slowness that is almost impossible to comprehend. The mountains that saw this morning sunrise have seen millions of sunrises before it, and they are themselves slowly, imperceptibly being worn away. The continents upon which we build our fleeting cities are adrift upon a sea of molten rock, their positions constantly glacially changing. Beneath the familiar, comforting pulse of the day and the season lies another deeper rhythm. It is a cadence measured not in hours or in years, but in eons. To feel it, we must learn to listen to the whispers of the stones and the deep silence of the canyons. We must adjust our sense of time, moving beyond the human scale and into the vast unfolding story written in the very crust of our planet. We must now turn our attention to the slow clock of the ages in a slow and ceaseless dance. Imagine for a moment that this dance has more than one rhythm. There is the swift tempo of day and night, the reliable waltz of the seasons, and the long, graceful arc of a human life. But beneath all of these, there is another clock ticking. It is a clock of immense slowness, one whose hands are mountain ranges and whose chimes are the opening and closing of oceans. This is the slow clock of the ages, and to hear its rhythm is to understand that the solid ground beneath our feet is not a stage but a story, a library written in stone, water, and ice. Let us travel to a familiar edge of the world, to the coastline of southern England, where brilliant white cliffs meet a restless gray-green sea. The White Cliffs of Dover. They stand as a symbol of permanence, a bastion against the waves. Gulls cry overhead, and the salty wind carries the scent of brine and damp earth. From a distance, they appear as a sheer solid wall of chalk crowned with a soft blanket of green grass. They feel ancient, eternal, as if they have always been there and always will be. But this feeling, this human intuition for time, is a profoundly misleading guide. These cliffs are not a wall. They are a book. And the book is not made of rock, not in the way we might think of granite or basalt. It is made of life. Each grain of that compacted, brilliant white chalk is a ghost. It is the microscopic calcified shell of a single-celled plankton, called a coccolithophore, an organism so small that millions could fit in a thimble. For nearly 100 million years, in an ocean that no longer exists, these tiny beings drifted in the sunlit upper waters. As they lived, they built intricate calcium carbonate plates around their single cell like infinitesimal suits of armor. And when they died, this armor did not dissolve. It began a long, slow, silent journey downward, a perpetual snowfall of ghosts settling on the seabed. Imagine the patience of the earth. A microscopic flake of white dust settles, then another, and another. Century after century, millennium after millennium, the gentle rain of life continues. The pressure of the accumulating layers and the vast weight of the water above begins to work its slow magic. The seabed compacts, the soft ooze hardens. The remains of trillions upon trillions of living creatures are compressed into a single cohesive substance, chalk. The cliffs we see today, rising hundreds of feet into the air, are the final uplifted chapter of this immense quiet story. They are a monument to the power of the small, a testament to the fact that the most profound changes on our planet are often the result of the patient accumulation of the insignificant. Let us now wind back the slow clock to see this place not as a monument, but as a living world. We travel back 100 million years to the late Cretaceous period. The spot where we stand is not a grassy cliff top, but deep beneath the surface of a warm subtropical sea. There is no biting English wind, only the gentle, inexorable pressure of the water column. The sun, a distant shimmering disk far above, sends down dappled rays of light that dance and flicker in the blue-green water. The world is hushed, the only sounds being the subtle clicks of unseen crustaceans and the deep, distant pulse of the current. We are floating in a world of alien beauty. Below us, the white seabed is not empty. Giant ammonites with their magnificent nautilus-like shells drift slowly by their tentacles, trailing behind them like silken ribbons. Some are the size of dinner plates, others as large as cartwheels. They are the majestic, slow-moving monarchs of this realm. In the hazy distance, a shadow moves with unnerving speed. It is a mosasaur, a colossal marine lizard, its powerful tail propelling it through the water in pursuit of prey. Its long, tooth-filled jaws are a reminder that this tranquil world is also one of perpetual survival. A family of long-necked plesiosaurs glides gracefully overhead, their 4 powerful flippers rowing them through the water with an elegance that belies their size. But the true architects of this world are invisible to our eyes. All around us, suspended in the water, are the coccolithophores. They are the living dust that clouds the sea, each one a tiny engine turning sunlight into life. And with every passing moment, the silent snowfall continues. The dead drift down their intricate shells, catching the faint light one last time before settling onto the growing layer of ooze below. This is the process, not violent, not sudden, but constant. A slow, patient act of creation, building the foundations of a future landscape, one microscopic life at a time. For millions of years, this is the rhythm of the world. The sun shines, the plankton blooms, the shells rain down. The book is being written. Then the rhythm breaks. The clock does not just tick, it shudders. Far away, an asteroid the size of a mountain strikes the Earth. We do not see the impact, but we feel its consequences even here in the depths of the sea. The water grows dark as a vast cloud of dust and ash thrown into the atmosphere begins to blot out the sun. The life-giving light that powered this entire ecosystem fades. The water grows cold. The temperature plummets. The plankton, unable to photosynthesize, die off in unimaginable numbers. The silent snowfall of shells falters, and then it stops. The great mosasaurs and plesiosaurs, their food chains collapsing from the bottom up, vanish from the oceans. The ammonites, which had survived for hundreds of millions of years, finally meet their end. The sea becomes a graveyard. On the seabed, the layer of chalk is now capped by a thin, dark line of iridium-rich clay, the chemical signature of the asteroid, the tombstone of an era. This is a mass extinction, a planetary reset. It is a moment of profound destruction, but also one of profound creation. In the silence that follows new forms of life, small mammals that had lived in the shadows of the dinosaurs will find a world opened up to them. The Earth is not just a patient builder, it is also a ruthless editor clearing the pages for a new story to begin. Let us turn the hands of the slow clock forward again, past the rise of the mammals, past millennia of slow evolution, to a time much closer to our own, yet still alien. We travel to just 20,000 years ago, during the last great ice age. We return to the same spot, but the world is unrecognizable. The warm tropical sea is gone. The sea level has fallen by hundreds of feet, the water locked up in colossal ice sheets covering much of the northern hemisphere. The white cliffs, now lithified and ancient, are not on a coastline. They are part of a vast exposed land bridge connecting what will become Britain to mainland Europe. The air here is not mild and salty, but thin, dry, and brutally cold. A relentless wind sweeps across a frozen tundra, a landscape of sparse, hardy grasses and scrub. There is no bird song, only the howling of the gale and the distant groaning crunch of ice. Further north, a wall of glacial ice miles thick grinds its way slowly across the continent, carving valleys and pulverizing rock into dust. Here, on the exposed chalk downland, great herds of woolly mammoths roam their shaggy coats, protecting them from the biting wind. Woolly rhinoceroses graze on the tough vegetation. And in the shelter of the valleys, small bands of early humans, our ancestors, huddle around fires, their lives governed by the immense oppressive presence of the cold. The cliffs themselves are being shaped by this new reality. Water seeps into cracks in the chalk freezes and expands, wedging great blocks of stone loose. In the brief, weak summer sun, meltwater rivers carve new channels. The earth is not building now. It is sculpting, erasing, and reshaping its own creation. The same forces of ice and wind that carve mountains are now etching fine details onto this ancient seabed. The world is caught in the grip of a cold, slow breath, a planetary winter that lasts for 100,000 years at a time, driven by subtle periodic wobbles in the Earth's orbit around the Sun. And then, as it always has, the rhythm changes again. The orbital cycles shift. The great ice sheets begin their slow, dripping retreat. The sea levels rise. The land bridge is submerged, and the waters of the English Channel rush in to isolate the island once more. The wind softens the tundra, gives way to forest, and the world we know today begins to take shape. We arrive back in the present. The cliffs stand before us, a silent witness to all of these lost worlds. They hold the memory of the warm Cretaceous sea, the silence of the great extinction, and the brutal cold of the ice. They are a physical record of the planet's capacity for profound transformation. But a new layer is now being written into this ancient story. It is a layer being written not over millions of years, but over mere centuries, even decades. Scientists have given this new chapter a name: the Anthropocene, the Age of Humans. It is a subtle layer, not yet visible as a thick band of rock. It is found in the chemical signature of industrial pollutants in the sediment at the base of the cliffs. It is found in the microscopic plastic fragments mixed in with the sand and shells on the beach below, a new kind of artificial sediment that will persist for geological time. It is found in the changing patterns of erosion as a warming climate brings more intense storms to batter the coast. The slow clock of the ages, which for eons was driven by orbital mechanics, volcanic activity, and continental drift, is now being accelerated by the collective actions of a single species. We have become a geological force in our own right, our civilization writing its signature directly into the rock of the planet. There is a profound humility in standing here, realizing that the story of the Earth is not over. It is a continuous narrative, and we are, for the first time, its conscious authors. The story of the stone is written in a language of pressure and time, a language we have only just begun to decipher. But the world is not only a story to be read, it is an experience to be felt, to be tasted, to be heard. For every creature that has ever lived upon this planet, from the ammonite sensing pressure changes in the Cretaceous sea to the mammoth detecting the vibrations of arrival through the frozen ground. The world was not a concept, but a vibrant, immediate reality shaped entirely by the senses through which it was perceived. And so we must ask, how many worlds exist right here, right now, within this one, to understand that the solid ground beneath our feet is not a stage, but a participant in the story. And while this deep geological time sets the grand theater of existence upon its surface, in every fleeting moment, countless different plays unfold. The world we see, the one world of mountains and rivers, is experienced in a near infinite number of ways. For every pair of eyes, every sensitive filament, every quivering membrane, a unique reality is born. The truth is, we do not perceive the world as it is. We perceive the world as we are. Our senses are not perfect windows onto reality. They are exquisite, specialized tools, honed by millions of years of evolution to select a tiny slice of the world, the slice that matters most for our survival. The rich tapestry of colors we see, from the deep blue of the evening sky to the vibrant red of a ripe fruit, exists because our ancestors needed to find food and avoid predators in the light of day. The range of sounds we hear, the soft whisper of a friend or the sharp crack of a twig in the forest, is tuned to the frequencies of communication and danger. This personal sensory bubble that each species inhabits has a name given to it by the biologist Jakob von Wexkull. He called it the Umwelt, the surrounding world, the subjective reality unique to each organism. To truly understand our living planet, we must try, in an act of profound empathy and imagination, to step outside of our own Umwelt and dip for a moment into the worlds of others. Let us begin in a meadow on a warm afternoon. Imagine yourself shrinking, the familiar sounds of the world deepening into a low, resonant hum. Your body becomes light. Your vision fractures into thousands of tiny lenses, and a pair of delicate, translucent wings begins to beat a blur against the air. You have become a bee, and the world has just been reborn. The lush, uniform green of the grass that a human sees dissolves. Instead, you perceive a complex landscape of shapes and textures, each blade distinct. But the true transformation happens when you look at the flowers. A simple yellow buttercup to human eyes becomes a radiant beacon. Its center glows with a deep, pulsating ultraviolet light, a pattern invisible to us, a nectar guide that screams, "Here." The petals are a cosmic landing strip guiding you to your reward. You do not see the sun as a single blinding orb. Instead, you perceive the polarization of its light across the entire sky, a vast invisible grid, a celestial compass that allows you to navigate with unerring precision, even on a cloudy day. The air itself is not empty space. It is a current. You can feel, a river of scents, carrying detailed messages about which flowers have been visited and which are still rich with pollen. Your world is not one of gentle pastels, but of electric signals and vibrant secret messages. You are not a visitor in a garden. You are a pilot, navigating a city of light. Now let this bright, energetic world fade. Let the sun sink below the horizon and allow your consciousness to drift downwards to the cool, damp earth and the bed of fallen leaves. The air grows still. The world for a human would now be cloaked in darkness, a place of muted shapes and shadows. But here, another kind of light is beginning to emerge. Your body is no longer light and swift, but long, muscular, and clad in a mosaic of scales that feel every subtle vibration in the soil. You are a pit viper, and your perception of the night is anything but dark. In front of your eyes are two small, exquisitely sensitive pits. They are not for seeing light, but for seeing warmth. As you lift your head, the world is painted in a ghostly, shimmering tapestry of heat. The cool stones are dark gray, the decaying leaves a faint mottled blue. But over there, a small, bright flame of orange and red moves slowly. It is a mouse. You do not see its fur or its whiskers. You see its life force, its metabolic fire burning against the cold backdrop of the night. It is a living candle in the darkness. But this is only half the story. Your tongue forked and delicate flicks out, tasting the air. It is not smelling in the way we do. It is gathering molecules, collecting a chemical story from the environment. When you draw it back into your mouth, you press it against a special organ on the roof, the Jacobson's organ. In an instant you know. You taste the path the mouse has just taken, the faint trace of its fear, the direction it is headed. You have a three-dimensional map made of heat and taste. The world is a thermal landscape, and you are its master, moving through a reality of glowing signatures and scented trails, a world utterly alien to the sunlit, color-filled reality of the bee. Let us leave the forest floor and journey now to a different kind of fluid medium, one of immense pressure and silence. Let your body grow sleek, powerful, and perfectly hydrodynamic. You are in the ocean, the great blue twilight of the planet. Down here, light is a fading memory, and sound travels in strange, distorted ways. You are a hammerhead shark cruising silently over a vast sandy plain that appears to human eyes completely empty. But it is not empty to you. Your senses are not limited to sight, sound, or smell, though those are keen. Your wide head, the cephalofoil, is studded with hundreds of tiny pores. These are the ampullae of Lorenzini, and they grant you a sense that feels like a kind of magic. They allow you to perceive electricity. The entire ocean is a web of faint electrical fields, and you are tuned to its every flicker. Every living thing generates a tiny bioelectric field with the beat of its heart, the flex of its muscle. As you glide, you are not looking for prey. You are feeling for it. A faint, rhythmic pulse beneath the sand reaches you. It is the heartbeat of a stingray, perfectly camouflaged, completely invisible. To any other creature, it is not there. To you, its presence is as loud as a shout. You feel the faint electrical discharge of a struggling fish hundreds of yards away. You sense the minute distortions in the Earth's own magnetic field, using them to navigate the vast, featureless highways of the open ocean. Your world is not one of objects, but of fields, not of surfaces, but of signatures. You are swimming through a living current of information, a reality of invisible forces that makes the seemingly empty water a vibrant, populated space. These are but 3 journeys into 3 different minds. The planet is teeming with millions more. Consider the bat flitting through the pitch-black night, shouting silent screams into the darkness. It is not merely hearing echoes. Its brain is constructing a rich, detailed, 3-dimensional image of the world from the returning sound waves. It can see the texture of a moth's wings, the fine hairs on a beetle's back, the exact trajectory of its next meal, all rendered in a rich tapestry of sound. It lives in a world of acoustic shapes and sonic textures. Consider the sea turtle or the migratory bird navigating thousands of miles of open ocean or trackless sky. We now know they possess a sense called magnetoreception. They do not just see the land and the sun, they feel the planet's magnetic field. It is not an abstract concept from a physics textbook for them. It is a tangible reality, a landscape of invisible lines of force with slopes and valleys and gradients that they feel intrinsically, an internal compass woven into the very fabric of their being. For them, the earth has a texture, a grain that guides them home with an accuracy that still humbles our most advanced technology. And what of the silent conversations happening all around us? An ant lays down a trail of pheromones, a chemical sentence that tells its sisters where to find food. It is language written on the ground. A tree attacked by caterpillars releases a specific chemical distress signal into the air. Other trees nearby receive this message and begin producing defensive toxins in their leaves before the caterpillars even arrive. The forest is not a silent collection of plants. It is a slow, sprawling chemical conversation, a network of warnings, invitations, and territorial claims spoken in a language of molecules. To contemplate the Umwelt of another creature is to be reminded of the profound humility that a true understanding of the world requires. The reality we experience, so solid, so complete, so all-encompassing to us, is just one version of the truth. It is a story told by our senses for our own purposes. All around us, other stories are constantly being told. A story of ultraviolet light, a story of thermal heat, a story of electrical fields and magnetic lines. Each creature is locked within its own perceptual prison, but each prison is also a palace perfectly designed for its inhabitant. They are not lesser realities. They are simply different. And yet, here we are. We who cannot see ultraviolet light can build a machine that does. We who cannot sense the Earth's magnetic field can chart it with a compass. We who cannot taste the air like a snake can analyze its chemical composition in a laboratory. Of all the creatures enclosed within their own sensory bubble, we seem to be the only ones who are aware that the bubble exists. We are the only ones who can use the tools of reason, of science, and of imagination to try and peek into the bubbles of others. We can sit in the quiet of our own minds and try to imagine what it is like to be a bat, or a bee, or a shark. This is a unique and powerful capacity. It is the ability not just to perceive a world, but to conceive of countless worlds. It is the power to draw a map that extends beyond the borders of our own senses. And with this power comes a profound question. What do we do with this awareness? What is the role and the responsibility of the one creature who can not only live in the world, but can also begin to understand all the other ways it can be lived? We are not just inhabitants. We have become the planet's cartographers, the keepers of all its many stories. This is the dawn of the mapmaker's mind. He whirled as it is. We perceive a model of it, a map sketched within the quiet cartography of the mind. And in this, perhaps, lies the most profound turn in our planet's long story. For countless eons, life experienced the world directly through the immediate and unfiltered grammar of survival. A scent on the wind was not a concept of danger, it was danger. The warmth of the sun was not a symbol of life, it was life. But then, in one lineage of primates, something began to shift. Within the expanding architecture of a new kind of brain, a space began to open up, a space between the world and the self, between the stimulus and the response. In that infinitesimal pause, consciousness, as we know it, was born. And with it, the mapmaker. This was not a sudden event, but a slow geological unfolding within the soft tissue of the mind. Over millennia, the human brain, particularly the neocortex, swelled in size and complexity. It developed an astonishing capacity for abstraction, for seeing not just the tree, but the idea of a tree. It could remember the past, not as a fleeting sensation, but as a story. It could imagine a future, not as a vague instinct, but as a plan. This was the dawn of the inner map. The first maps were not drawn on hide or stone. They were etched into memory. They were the mental pathways connecting a safe shelter to a source of fresh water, the remembered constellations that turned a frightening star-dusted darkness into a reliable compass. To look at the night sky and see not just a random scattering of lights, but a hunter, a bear, or a great river. This was a revolutionary act. It was the mind imposing order on chaos, connecting the dots to create a pattern, a story, a navigable chart. This map did more than guide the body. It calmed the soul. It suggested that the universe was not arbitrary, but had a structure, a language that could perhaps be learned. The first mapmaker was also the first storyteller, the first scientist, the first priest weaving the raw data of existence into a coherent tapestry of meaning. This was our unique inheritance, the ability to step back from the world, to hold it at a distance in our thoughts, and to draw its likeness. But a map held only in one mind is a fragile and lonely thing. It dies with its creator. The next great leap in our journey as cartographers of reality came with a tool of almost magical power: language. With the advent of complex symbolic language, our individual mental maps could be shared, compared, corrected, and combined. A single person's discovery, a new hunting ground, a dangerous predator's territory, a grove of fruit-bearing trees, could become the common knowledge of the entire tribe. Knowledge was no longer limited by a single lifetime. It became cumulative, a vast living atlas passed down through generations. Language is the ultimate map-making tool. Each word is a pin placed on the chart of reality, a label that gives a feature permanence and shared meaning. To name a river is to distinguish it from all other flows of water, to give it an identity, a story. To name a mountain is to grant it a presence in our collective consciousness. The world through language is transformed from a seamless, flowing experience into a landscape of distinct objects, concepts, and relationships. We draw borders with our words, creating categories like forest and desert, friend and foe, sacred and profane. This shared linguistic map allows for collaborations on a scale that no other species can achieve. It allows us to build cities, to create laws, to launch vessels that leave the cradle of our planet and chart the shores of other worlds. Every book in a library, every line of computer code, every treaty signed between nations is a contribution to this immense, ever-evolving human atlas. We are born into a world already mapped for us by the words and ideas of our ancestors, and we spend our lives walking its charted paths while perhaps adding a few new lines of our own. Yet as our maps grew more sophisticated, we began to understand that one map could never be enough. The world is too vast, too deep, too paradoxical to be captured by a single system of representation. And so, we develop different kinds of maps, each designed to navigate a different aspect of the human experience. Science is one such map. It is a map of meticulous precision, drawn with the tools of mathematics, observation, and experiment. It charts the physical laws of the cosmos, from the dance of subatomic particles to the great slow waltz of galaxies. It maps the intricate web of life, the geological ages of the Earth, the chemical reactions that animate our very cells. This map is powerful because it is predictive. It allows us to build bridges that stand, to create medicines that heal, to understand the celestial mechanics that bring the tides and the seasons. Its language is universal, its claims testable. But it is a map that, by its own honest admission, is focused on the how and the what. It can describe the exact wavelength of the color red, but it cannot map the feeling of seeing a spectacular sunset. It can explain the neurochemical cascade of love, but it cannot chart the depths of love itself. For that, we turn to another map, the map of art. A painting, a symphony, a poem. These are maps of the inner world, the subjective landscape of emotion, beauty, and sorrow. An artist does not seek to create a photographically accurate representation of a mountain. They seek to chart the feeling of the mountain's presence, its silent, ancient grandeur. Music does not map sound waves. It maps the contours of joy, grief, and longing. Art provides a language for the experiences that science cannot quantify. It reminds us that a purely objective description of the world leaves out the very thing that makes life worth living, the subjective experience of being a conscious self within it. It is the map of what it feels like to be here. And there is a third kind of map, one that humanity has drawn and redrawn since the beginning, the map of spirituality and philosophy. This is a map of meaning. It seeks to answer the great why questions. Why are we here? What is our purpose? How should we live? It charts the terrain of ethics, of value of our connection to something larger than ourselves. Whether through meditation, prayer ritual, or quiet contemplation, this map attempts to place our small, finite lives within a grander, often infinite context. It is not a map of physical territory, but of moral and existential orientation. It provides a compass for the soul, a way to navigate the difficult choices and profound mysteries of a human life. None of these maps, the scientific, the artistic, the spiritual, is the territory itself. They are all models, all simplifications of an infinitely complex reality. To mistake any one map for the whole truth is a form of blindness. The geologist who sees only rock strata in the Grand Canyon misses its terrible beauty. The poet who sees only beauty misses the eons of geological history written in its walls. And one who sees only a spiritual lesson may miss both. A full human life requires a fluency in reading all these maps, in understanding that they are not in conflict, but are layered transparencies, which when laid one upon the other, give us a richer, more dimensional, and more honest view of our world. And this brings us to the profound and often troubling paradox of the mapmaker. Our unique ability to stand apart from the world and model it is the source of our greatest triumphs and our most devastating failures. We are the one species that can understand the intricate web of an ecosystem, and therefore the one species that can systematically dismantle it. We can map the planet's climate systems with astonishing accuracy, and with that same knowledge, we can destabilize them. We can chart the human genome, the very blueprint of our being, and use that map to cure hereditary diseases or to contemplate engineering our own evolution. We are both a part of nature and through our consciousness, apart from it. We are the world observing itself, the universe grown self-aware. This dual position grants us a power that is utterly new on this planet. Every other creature lives within the map of its biology and environment. The beaver builds a dam because its instincts command it to. The bee dances to communicate the location of nectar because that is its nature. But humans can look at the map and choose. We can choose to cut down the forest or to replant it. We can choose to pollute the river or to clean it. We can choose to build a bomb or a sanctuary. The map of our world, now held in the digital glow of satellites and supercomputers, is more complete than ever before. We can see the planet in its entirety, a living, breathing system of interconnected currents, winds, and life forms. We have charted the deepest ocean trenches and the highest mountain peaks. We have named and cataloged millions of species. We hold in our hands a map of breathtaking detail and scope. But the existence of a map does not determine the journey. It only shows the possibilities. Our consciousness, this strange and beautiful capacity for self-reflection, places upon us a burden of responsibility that is ours alone. We are the custodians of the map. We are the navigators. For the first time in 4.5 billion years, one of Earth's children has become conscious of the whole, capable of understanding its fragility and its preciousness. We are a geological force with a thinking mind, a planetary power with a moral compass that is still finding its true north. We stand now holding this vast, intricate, and sometimes contradictory atlas of human knowledge, a legacy of every thinker, artist, and explorer who came before us. The ink is still wet on so many pages, and vast territories of understanding remain shrouded in mystery. As we look up from these charts, from the elegant equations, the haunting melodies, and the ancient wisdom, we gaze out upon the world itself. We see not just the lines we have drawn, but the living, breathing reality they seek to represent. And we are faced with the ultimate question, the one that every map implicitly asks of its holder, not just where we are, but where we choose to go from here. The echoes of our past have led us to this moment, but the horizons ahead are unwritten, waiting for the choices we will make. Within that primate mind, the model of the world grew ever more complex, ever more detailed. It learned to map not just the immediate territory of a riverbank or a savanna, but the very patterns of the seasons, the cycles of the moon, the distant and predictable wanderings of the stars. This internal map, this quiet cartography of the mind, became a tool of immense power, allowing this one species to anticipate, to plan, and to spread across the globe, filling every niche, adapting to every climate. And then, in a cosmic blink of an eye, a mere handful of centuries after learning the true shape of its world, this mind built a tool to leave it. It constructed vessels of fire and metal, not to sail the seas, but to sail the silent black ocean of space. And from that unparalleled vantage point, for the very first time, the mapmaker could finally see the territory in its entirety. Imagine for a moment that you are there, floating in the profound and absolute silence of the void. Below you, suspended against the infinite backdrop of stars, is a sphere of impossible beauty. It is not the static sectioned globe of a classroom, but a living, breathing entity. Swirls of incandescent white cloud drift in slow, majestic ballets across oceans of the deepest sapphire blue. Continents of ochre brown and emerald green are laid out not as political territories, but as geological tapestries woven by time itself. There are no borders visible from here, no lines drawn in the sand by history or ideology. You cannot see the divisions of nation or language or creed. You see only one whole and indivisible system. The thin, almost imperceptible lamination of the atmosphere glows with a soft, ethereal light, a fragile membrane of gas that holds everything that has ever lived and everything that ever will. This is the experience that astronauts have called the overview effect. It is a profound cognitive shift, a sudden and overwhelming realization that transcends intellectual understanding. It is the feeling of seeing your home not as a place on the earth, but as the earth itself. The sense of separation dissolves. The arguments and conflicts that seem so monumental on the surface below shrink into their true perspective, the squabbles of a family in a single room, unaware of the beautiful, intricate, and vulnerable house they all share. From this distance, the planet appears not as a stage for human drama, but as the drama itself, a single unified organism, a shimmering jewel of life in the vast, cold darkness. This perspective gives visceral form to an idea that has been whispered by poets and philosophers, and more recently articulated by scientists. The idea that our planet is not just a rock with life on it, but a complex, self-regulating system where life actively creates and maintains the conditions for its own survival. This is sometimes called the Gaia hypothesis, named for the ancient Greek goddess of the earth. It proposes that the biosphere, the sum total of all living things, and the physical components of the planet, the atmosphere, the oceans, the soil are so closely integrated that they form a single synergistic entity. It does not suggest the Earth is a conscious being, but rather something far more subtle and wondrous. It suggests that the planetary system has emergent properties, much like a forest is more than just a collection of trees, or a human being is more than a collection of cells. The planet breathes. Its forests and plankton inhale carbon dioxide and exhale the oxygen that we, in turn, inhale. Its oceans act as a circulatory system with currents like great arteries distributing heat and nutrients around the globe. Life has sculpted this world from the composition of its air to the very color of its surface, and in turn, the world has sculpted life. They are locked in a 4-billion-year-old dance, a feedback loop of creation and regulation so intricate that we are only just beginning to comprehend its steps. From the silent theater of space, you see this dance in its full glory. But now, let us begin our journey home. Let us perform a slow, continuous descent from this cosmic overview back to the intimate and the immediate. We pull away for a moment into the deeper dark. The Earth shrinks from a brilliant sphere to a beautiful blue marble, and then further still until it becomes what the astronomer Carl Sagan so poignantly called a pale blue dot. A single pixel of light, a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. On that dot is everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you have ever heard of. Every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilizations, every king and peasant, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there on a tiny speck in the immense cosmic arena. The sheer loneliness of our world is palpable. It underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the only home we have ever known. Now we turn back. We begin to fall gently back toward that light. The dot expands. It resolves once more into a marble, then a sphere. We can see the curve of the planet now, the terminator line, where day bleeds into night, a soft gradient, where city lights begin to glitter like scattered diamonds against the velvet darkness. We approach the upper atmosphere, that luminous paper-thin skin. We pass through the invisible layers where meteors burn into shooting stars, and auroras dance in silent shimmering curtains of green and violet light. There is a sense of entry of passage. The blackness of space gives way to a deepening indigo, then a brilliant, impossible cobalt blue. We are flying now, gliding over the surface. Below us, a continent unfurls. We see the great wrinkled spines of mountain ranges, their peaks capped with white snow. They look like the fossilized vertebrae of some colossal sleeping creature. From their slopes, great river systems branch out like the veins on a leaf, carving canyons and nourishing vast plains, carrying silt and stories to the sea. The texture of the world grows richer. The broad strokes of geology give way to the finer details of ecology. We see the deep, uniform green of a boreal forest, a seemingly endless expanse of conifers. We see the patchwork quilt of agriculture fields of gold and green laid out in geometric patterns. We see the coastline, a fractal edge where the restless energy of the ocean meets the solid patience of the land, sculpting cliffs and beaches, estuaries and deltas. Our descent continues. We are lower now, low enough to see the movement of things. The shadow of a single large cloud drifts slowly across a valley. We can see the whitecaps on the waves as they roll toward the shore. We can make out the shape of a town nestled by a river. Bend the glint of sunlight off a car moving along a road. The world is no longer a static map. It is alive with motion and detail. We choose a place to land, a small patch of green, perhaps a park, at the edge of the town, or a quiet forest far from any road. Our perspective glides downward, past the canopy of the tallest trees, through the dappled sunlight filtering through the leaves. We drift lower and lower, until we are hovering just above a single branch on an old oak tree. On this branch is a single leaf. And our journey, which began in the vastness of interstellar space, now focuses entirely on this one ordinary leaf. We see the intricate network of its veins carrying water from the roots miles below up to its cells. We see its green surface, a precise shade perfected over millions of years to capture the energy of a star 93 million miles away. We can almost feel the soft, waxy texture of its cuticle, the delicate architecture of its stem. But we go deeper. Our perception shifts from the macroscopic to the microscopic. We zoom into the very tissue of the leaf, into one of the millions of tiny cells that make up its structure. Inside this bustling cellular city, we see the chloroplasts, the little green engines of life. Within them, a miracle is taking place. The ancient and elegant process of photosynthesis is converting sunlight, water, and air into energy, into life itself. Molecules of water and carbon dioxide are being unmade and remade, and in the process, a single molecule of oxygen is released. This molecule of oxygen, born in the quiet, sunlit world of a leaf, drifts out through a tiny pore. It joins the immense invisible river of the atmosphere. It may travel for thousands of miles on the wind-crossing oceans and continents. It may be breathed in by a bird soaring high above, or by a whale surfacing in a distant sea. And eventually, a molecule just like it, perhaps, from this very leaf, perhaps, from a blade of grass, a world away, finds its way to you. Right now, in this very moment, feel the gentle rise and fall of your own chest. Notice the air as it enters your nostrils, cool, and then warm as it fills your lungs. That air is a physical piece of the planetary system we just traversed. It contains the oxygen gifted by plants, the nitrogen cycled by bacteria, the moisture evaporated from the oceans. You are not separate from this system. You are an active, breathing part of it. The boundary between your body and the world is not your skin. It is a permeable membrane through which the planet flows. The water you drink was once a cloud, was once a river, was once ice in a glacier. The carbon atoms that form your very cells were forged in the heart of a long-dead star, and have been part of mountains and oceans and countless other living beings before they became part of you. The entire epic story of the cosmos and the 4-billion-year history of life on Earth is written in the substance of your body. The universal is not just out there, it is right here in the particular and profound reality of your own existence. To see the world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wild flower is not just poetry. It is a literal truth. And in this quiet realization, a feeling can arise unbidden. It is a sense of profound and simple gratitude. Not an obligation, but a quiet, heartfelt thank you for the sheer, improbable gift of it all. Gratitude for the air, for the water, for the food that nourishes us. Gratitude for the stability of a world that allows for the slow, unfolding miracle of a single day. This feeling of connection, This deep sense of belonging is perhaps the most important horizon we can reach. It changes our perspective from one of ownership to one of kinship. We are not masters of the earth here to exploit its resources. We are a part of its living fabric, temporary custodians of its ancient and ongoing story. And from this place of kinship, a gentle stewardship naturally arises. It is not a heavy burden of responsibility, but a simple, loving impulse to care for that which we are a part of. It is the desire to walk a little more softly, to listen a little more closely, and to leave the world a little more whole than we found it. Our journey is now at its end. We have traveled from the planet's violent birth to the quiet dawn of consciousness, from the deepest oceans to the silence of space, and all the way back to the intimacy of a single breath. We have seen that our world is a place of constant change, of staggering complexity, and of interconnected beauty. The exploration of Earth is not a finite task with a beginning and an end. It is a continuous practice of paying attention, of seeing with fresh eyes the wonder that is all around us and within us. The echoes of deep time are in the rocks beneath our feet, and the horizons of an unknown future are in the choices we make today. And in the quiet space between the echo and the horizon, there is this moment, a moment to breathe, a moment to feel our connection to this living world, and a moment to simply be at home.